Squad back in the building. What's up, crew? Got Dan, Bo, Tyler's, Dylan. Dylan was chilling on the mural board a little bit earlier, saying what's up. He got a little sneak peek on what's coming today. If you guys don't have access to that mural board quite yet, you gotta get access. You gotta get in there like swimwear, baby. So, you guys, if this is your first time on Agency Therapy, welcome. Super excited that you guys are here today. We've been going down a rabbit hole as of recently on building $1 million agency from scratch, giving you guys the frameworks, the playbook to go and do it yourself, whether you take the exact frameworks that I'm using or just adjusting them a little bit to what you're doing. Awesome. I hope you guys are getting great value from it so far. Dylan, we got some heat coming today. I agree. It's going to be lit. All right. So hopefully you guys have been following around along so far in the journey of building this agency out. If not, there are a lot of recordings. I think we've done 3 other episodes. Yeah, 3 other episodes on this. This will be the 4th one. And we're just going to keep building on top of each other. And I'm going to continue giving you guys the frameworks so you can build an effective agency. Okay. If you guys need the link, you can follow along on the Miro board. Please don't mess with anything on the Miro board until maybe after the live stream. But there's a link to the Miro board. If you guys need access to it, you can copy and paste these frameworks directly into it. I've got some extra resources for you guys today that will allow you to essentially just become a little bit more efficient. So you guys can follow along in here. Just kind of read along in the rules. If it's your first time on the Miro board, there's some rules over here in the corner if you guys haven't seen them yet. So take a look at those rules. And then from there, it kind of goes in order. I'm putting everything in parts according to the stream. So if you've missed the previous streams, some of the stuff might not be as applicable today. I still think you'll get great takeaways. So stick around because I think there will be some really awesome takeaways for you guys to get from the stream today. But essentially just goes in ascending order, part 1 through part 4. So go back, watch the other ones if you haven't yet. There's some good information there. And especially if you're just getting started in your agency journey. As we get deeper and deeper into this, if you guys have a running agency right now, this stuff is going to become more applicable to you as we get further and further along. So the first 3, definitely a little bit more beginner agency. We're going to start getting into a little bit more of the nitty gritty stuff starting this week. I would still consider it somewhat elementary, somewhat beginner stuff, but I think you guys are going to get some really good information from this today. So that link is there for you guys. Scuba's in the house. Let's go. The scuba has landed. All right. Super stoked that you guys are here. I appreciate you taking just a little bit of time out of your evening to join us today. So let's dive in today. There's no point in just waiting around any longer. Do a little share screen here and boom, we're in there. All right. So once again, check out that link in the chat if you guys need access to this board. Once again, these materials are copy and paste for you. Instructions on how to do that are right here at the top. If you guys have not read these rules already, please go through the board rules before you just go and go crazy on the board. If you mess something up, you can either let me know or just try and undo it yourself. And then worst case scenario, I do have copies of these templates in another board because I know sometimes we get a little frisky inside of the Miro boards. So we got a lot to cover today in a short amount of time. So we are going to be talking about the implementation of something that we call the 1-page impact plan. And if you guys have been following along for the last 2 live streams, we covered something called the Big 10. Okay. And the Big 10 covered 10 specific points. Okay. We talked about the QBR, the Queen Bee rule, the business endgame, some vision, foundations, W4 core values, must conquer dailies, 30-day impact items, quarterly radar items, quarterly theme, and projections. And we are going to be applying those all into a single board today that you guys can pretty much compact the last 2 lessons into one board. Okay. So that's where we're going to start today. And then from there, we're going to be talking about how to efficiently attack the impact items that we set last week. And then the third piece today, we're going to go through and talk a little bit about the financial side of the business because I want to talk about finances before everything really gets rolling with an agency and how to manage finances as you're starting to collect cash for the first time. Okay. So that's kind of what we're getting into today. If you guys missed this stuff from the last few weeks, no worries. You can go back and rewatch it. And if not, no worries. Today will still be super applicable to where you guys are probably at within the agency. So let's go ahead and hop on in. If you guys have questions as we go along, drop them in the chat and I'll address them as we go today. So in this upper left-hand corner, all right, we're deploying the impact plan. This is a pretty famous plan as far as organizational structure goes. And I say famous because a lot of great entrepreneurs and a lot of your entrepreneurial books have gone through some sort of plan. So if you guys are familiar with the entrepreneurial operating system, the EOS system, if you guys are familiar with Vern Harnish scaling up, everyone has deployed some sort of one-page plan, a place that they can find pretty much all the information specifically on their business. Okay. I kind of took some rendition of those plans. Also, one of my mentors, Judge Graham and Matt Monero, they developed essentially a one-page plan that's called the one-page attack and conquer plan. These guys ran a pretty massive agency that ended up selling for about $450 million. So if it scales to the agencies that I've built and it scales to 450 million, you know that this is probably something that you should learn. Okay. So with that being said, these this specific plan, this one-page impact plan, does apply to no matter what stage you are in the agency. When we were running our agency, we did this essentially from day one and applied this to our agency. It's what allowed us to get to multiple seven figures within 2.5 years. So would highly recommend doing this. But the only thing on this one-page impact plan, it has to be consistent. You have to review it every 30 days. Otherwise, this shit just simply doesn't work. Okay. It's just flat out. It doesn't work if you don't revisit it. Doesn't work if you don't use it. Okay. If you do it for 3 months in a row and then you stop doing it after that, sorry, stops working. Okay. This has to be consistent. This has to be baked in to the agency month after month, year over year. Okay. And to this day, I still run this in my consultancy. We still run it across all the agencies that we currently coach across our about 40 agency roster right now. So this is something that we do like clockwork. Okay. It's every month. Okay. Once again, we talked about rhythm inside of the agency. This is the rhythm right here. Okay. This is literally the cornerstone of our business. All right. I'm going to take the jacket off. I'm already getting hot, bro. All right. Ooh. All right. Let's jump in. So, you guys, we're going to transfer our Big Ten to your one-page impact plan. So it's so funny because the last 2 weeks I've been forcing you guys, if you've been following along and actually filling out this information as we go, I've been forcing you guys to actually do parts of the one-page impact plan. So it would be easily plugged in to this framework. And if you guys want a blank templated copy, down here in the bottom right corner, boom, there's your copy right there. And then there's some other links down here that we'll cover today where you guys can get some free resources. But if you want the blank template will be down here for you guys. That way you don't have to delete all the stuff that's in here and reset it for yourself. So you'll notice that everything that was deployed inside of our one-page impact plan came from the last 2 weeks. Everything from our business endgame, I dropped into the one-page impact plan. Okay. The vision, all dropped into the one-page impact plan. W4, okay. Who we are, what do we do, what proof do we have, why do people want it? Okay. All dropped in there. Core values, our must conquer dailies, 30-day impact items, things that we're going to be working on in the first 30 days of the agency, quarterly projections, and then we've yet to build out yearly projections. We're just not at that stage yet. And really, this is a monthly projection. So if you're really early on, I wouldn't even worry too much about projections. We need to get this thing off the ground before we start projecting anything. That we're just not doing the activities to build out projections quite yet. Okay. So, and then eventually we'll build out a unique selling proposition. That'll be next week when we get to offer, building out like the correct offer for our business. So we'll be covering that next week. So that is the only thing that's left blank there currently. But you guys, from last week, we literally built out all of this stuff the last 2 weeks. Okay. So we did the core value exercise. We did the 30-day impact items and how we're going to build those out across each department of our agency. We got some quarterly radar items in there. We built out a quarterly theme, projections, so on and so forth. And then the week before, all of that positioning work that we did all goes into our one-page impact plan, which is pretty spicy, right? Coach Cam in the building. What up, dude? Good to see you. Scuba's just chatting today. I love it. You love to see it. Okay, so guys, I'm not going to go through any of this stuff, but you'll notice that all the information that we covered the last 2 weeks all got plugged into this one-page impact plan, and this currently lives on a Miro board, okay, inside of your business. So first application for today, everything that we worked on over the last 2 weeks should get applied to this one-page impact plan. And we reset these impact items every 30 days, and then once a quarter, so every 3 months, we're revisiting the business endgame, vision, W4, core values, and just making minor adjustments if needed. Okay. Things will change in your business over a 30-day period, over a 60-day period, 90 days, right? So we come back to the core values. We come back to our positioning. We always make minor adjustments based off of how the business has changed, because your business will change. This will not forever be the one page impact plan that you roll out. You will make changes to this. You'll add core values. You'll take away core values. You'll add in different positioning for your W4. You'll have a different vision that starts to evolve as you guys develop your agency. So just know this is supposed to be adjusted. It's supposed to be edited. It's not something that is a forever plan for your agency. We're going to make adjustments to this on a quarterly basis. And then these impact items, we're going to be swapping these out every 30 days. Okay. So our goal is to get all of these things done within 30 days. Okay. Now, some of you guys have a little bit larger leadership teams. Some of you guys are just running solo right now. Totally fine. But these items, no matter how long your laundry list is, should be able to be accomplished in 30 days. If not, you got too much stuff on there. Okay. Really crucial items, maybe 2 to 3 per department, and then make sure someone's assigned to it. Make sure you have that due date on there. We covered that last week. So carry this one page impact plan in. If you guys have questions on this one page impact plan, let me know. But this is the pulse of the business right here. This is how we keep that great rhythm month after month, and how everyone is getting really essential and crucial items done every single month. So carry this over. If you guys missed the last 2 weeks, go back, watch those last 2 weeks after the stream. That way you can get everything in there from your W4 positioning, your vision, your end game. This stuff is going to be absolutely crucial as we're starting to develop some of the assets for our agency, like our website, our documents when it comes to sales, when it comes to us being able to actually pitch and sell our offering. These positioning pieces become extremely important. So do not skip over it. It's the boring work. It's the shit no one wants to do. But I promise you, it will be worth 10x if you do it now versus a couple years down the road when you realize that it's extremely important. Okay. You guys with that? 10 viewers, dub. I would agree, Tyler. It is a dub. I got 11 on my side over here. That feels good. Guys, give me some dubs in the chat if this is making sense so far. Okay. I don't want to go too far into this today. Okay. We're already 15 minutes into the stream. So I want to make sure we're moving on to some other items that I specifically wanted to chat about today, which is the actual deployment of this one page impact plan. So David's on the W train. You love to see it. Let's go. Eli in the building. All right. Sweet. Let's move forward. So we got to take action on these impact items. If we don't take action on these impact items, man, let me tell you, like, this shit is useless. Okay. You can plan all you want. You can strategize all you want. But if we're not taking action on these items, at the end of the day, we're not going to make any progress, right? So we have to get our 30 days organized and build yourself a personal monthly game plan. Okay. This is a personal monthly game plan. Over here, this is a organization 30-day game plan. Okay. So this is the whole organization over here. We need to build something personalized specifically for ourselves. Okay. Now, we developed this thing called the Agency Impact Planner. I'm giving it to you guys absolutely free. We actually don't even sell it. We usually just give it away as a free resource to get some nice leads through the door. If you guys want the download to the Agency Impact Planner, you can get it here. There's 2 impact planners inside of this Google Drive, by the way. The first one is going to be the Early Bird Planner for you early risers. And then there's going to be the Night Owl Agency Impact Planner for all of you guys that like to stay up late and work late into the evening hours. So 2 types of planners that you guys can download, whichever one you feel that you are. You can download one of those. And basically it's the same format. The only thing that's going to change is the daily game plan. The times just change. It pushes everything to a little bit later in the evening. So this early bird one starts at 4 a.m., goes to 8 p.m. I think the evening one starts at 8 or 9, I believe, and will go until I think 1 in the morning. So just little nuances there. But if you're more of a morning person, get the morning bird or the early bird Agency Impact Planner. If you're a night person, grab the Night Owl Agency Impact Planner. Okay. And they should be labeled inside of that Google Drive for you guys. Okay. So monthly game plan. What's the first thing that we do? And when you guys download this, there's a couple things that you can do. It works really well on the iPad. So if you guys have an iPad and like an iPad pencil or whatever, you can actually do all of these annotations specifically on the iPad. Okay. You can also get these printed at like a Staples or a Kinko's or something, and you can actually get the binding put in there. So if that's something that you wanted, you can get them printed. I think if you get like 10 printed, it'll be like $7 a print And this is for an entire month. So you get 30 days out of these planners when you get them printed. Okay, they're set up for 30 days. Okay, so the monthly game plan. What's the first thing that we kind of do within the monthly game plan? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to write down anything big that's going to pull us out of our regular routine. Okay, so maybe we have, let's blow this up just a little bit more. And I'm just going to type it in, guys. That way, oops, that just disappeared. I'm going to type it in that way, because I don't have a pencil right now, so it just doesn't work on the PC. Okay, so we're going to put in some items here. Maybe I have a wedding to attend on this day. Well, I'm not going to do shit for work when I have a wedding weekend. And I don't know if this is a weekend or not, but we have a wedding this weekend, right? So I know I'm going to be out of the office. I know I'm not going to be able to work on my impact items during this time. Maybe down here towards the end of the month, we have an event we're going to. Okay, we're going to Hydra Council, baby. Who's coming to Hydra Council this year? Hydra Council, question mark. April 28th and 29th. Mark your calendars. If you guys are interested, shoot me a DM. Got 65 tickets available. They're not even on sale yet, except for someone just bought one. Who was it? Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? I know they're here on the stream right now too, because he said he was coming today. Freaking Nick Terrio. Nick Terrio's coming. He already bought his ticket. So Hydra Council coming up on the 28th and 29th of April, but maybe we have an event coming up. So that's going to pull us out of our daily routine. So we're going to just mark down anything that's going to pull us out of our daily routine. I'm not going to lie. This specific part of the agency impact planner came from our good friend Taylor Welch. I absolutely love this. He designed something very similar, and so we kind of stole it. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, well, we didn't steal it. We just put it in our planner. Okay, but a lot of this stuff isn't my own thinking. Okay, we just designed it specifically for agency owners. We added some stuff and subtracted some stuff. Okay, so we're gonna write down anything that pulls us out of our day-to-day routine. Okay, so we're gonna say that there's a wedding coming up, there's Hydro Council coming up. Okay, all these other days means that we have time to plan and time to commit to those impact items that we jotted down over here. Okay, so that's the first thing that we're gonna do, and then from there, we're going to design our month specifically around the impact items that we set out during our monthly 60 meeting when we designed our impact items. Okay. So we're just going to take the Hydra Council here. I'm going to bring it over here for a second. Okay. So let's go back and look at some of those impact items that we chatted about. Okay. And I'm only going to put one in there, but hey, we have to build the first offer. Okay. That's probably the most important thing that we're going to do over the next month is build out the actual offer. Okay. So I'm just going to put that in there. Build offer. Okay. And we can get a little bit more specific probably on that, but for sake of time, we're just going to put build offer. There's probably different segments of the offer that we need to build, but that's not a huge deal right now. Okay. From there, we're going to give it a due date. We're going to say the end of the month. So 2-30. Okay. That's our due date. And then you're probably wondering, Josh, what does P or M mean? Well, this is whether it is a production task or if it's a maintenance task. Everyone type production in the chat because that's what this specific task is. Okay. And we talked about this last week. What's the difference between production and maintenance? Okay. Production tasks are things that add revenue. They maintain revenue or they expand revenue within the business. Anything that is more of a maintenance task is a direct link to, more stabilization type activities. So we always want to be slightly outweighed, especially if our goal is scale and growth. We always want to have a few more production activities than we do maintenance activities. Okay. Production activities versus maintenance activities. Okay. So more production activities. Building an offer is a production activity because it is going to help us generate more revenue. We have to have an offer in order to generate revenue. So we're just going to mark in here. And if you notice that you have a bunch of M's, a bunch of maintenance tasks in here, then chances are we need to switch some of those out for some more production. Because if the goal is growth, if your goal is to maintain and stabilize, okay, then you might have more maintenance. But if the goal is to grow, then we need to have more production type tasks in here. Okay. So we're just going to make note of that. That way we're self-aware of what we're actually working on throughout the month. Does that make sense so far? Tanner said, this is awesome. I agree. Okay. Sweet. Ashley said the planner is crafted perfectly. Sheesh. Damn, you guys hyping me up today. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Josh, some point, could you drop that link for David? Which link, Tyler? Tyler Lee. He's sitting across from me. That's all right. He's listening on his AirPods. He can't hear me. Um, oh, what link to the Miro board? Okay, yeah, I'll drop it for him. So if you guys need that link, I'll drop it again. It probably got buried in the chat, so we'll drop it again for you guys just in case. Oh, to the drive? The drive. So to the Miro board is the link I just dropped, and then if you guys want access to the drive, oops, I just moved that on accident. If you guys want access to the drive, if you're looking for the planner, it's going to be down here in the bottom right corner of the Miro board. You just click this link here, and it will take you to download the Impact Planner. Okay, and I think it should open up. Yeah, they should open up right here. There's two PDFs. Just take those downloads. Okay. There's a morning one and an afternoon one. I don't know which one's which. I should have put the description ahead of time. If you open it up, it'll tell you though. Let's see. Let's see what the right one is. Oh my gosh, this thing's all okay. So this is the Night Owl one. So if you guys want those, the right one is the Night Owl. Left one is the Early Bird. Okay. What are you guys giggling about? All right. So let's hop back in it here. Okay. So production versus maintenance tasks. We're going to build out these monthly impact items. Once again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to drop a bunch of those impact items in here. You guys know what they are because guess what? They're in our one-page impact plan all the way back over here. We're just going to transfer them into a daily planner so we can keep ourselves accountable on what we're working on throughout the month. And we don't have to always come back to our Miro board to see what we're working on. Okay. If that makes sense, give me a little thumbs up in chat. Monthly radar items. Okay. We talked a little bit about radar items. This is stuff that we might work on once we get done with the main items. Okay. So we always put some radar items in here just in case we blitz through the first couple of impact items and we can start working on some extra stuff for the month. Okay. I also like to put monthly study items in here as well. So if you guys have a study diet, would highly recommend it. We do live in a very algorithmic world nowadays. If you just open up YouTube, it's probably going to pull you into whatever the algorithm wants to pull you into, right? So make sure you guys, if you like studying, if you like reading, if you want to learn more, put your monthly study items in there and actually schedule them out. Okay, what are you actually going to consciously study over the month? Okay, and then you can drop some projections down below. Okay. We haven't jumped too far into projections yet. We probably won't cover projections for some time because we have to get some basics down first. Projections, in my opinion, will happen at a little bit later time. Okay. So we'll talk about projections and you guys can start adding those in below. But for those of you that understand and know how to run projections effectively, you can drop those below here. Okay. Okay. After we build out the monthly game plan, we build out the weekly game plan. Okay. It's almost the exact same thing, guys. Very simple. Okay. We take our monthly items, we start breaking them down into weekly items. Okay. We have one weekly priority. And the reason that we have one weekly priority is because sometimes we have shit weeks and that happens. But if we can get this one weekly priority done, this is the thing that's going to make us progress in the business. So we're going to put one item here. And even if we have the worst week possible and we still get this one thing done, we at least made some progress. Okay. So that's kind of like our fail safe. Like, this is the one thing I have to get done this week. And then from there, weekly impact items, we might have some other pieces. Hey, if we get this impact priority, awesome. Then we move to our weekly impact items, and then we move things from the radar as well. So if we're having a super productive week, we might move into some radar items as well. And then what we're studying for the week. So if we're, jumping into a new book that we want to read, maybe it's chapters 1 and 2 for this week. Awesome. Let's go ahead and put that there. You want to watch an Alex Hermosi video? Sweet. Let's put that there. Want to come to agency therapy every Thursday? Sweet. Well, let's put that there. Okay. So we're going to come down here, build out our weekly study items as well. And then the last piece here, just some weekly projections, especially if you're running a sales team or you guys are getting a little bit more in depth with lead generation. Okay. It's really good to start breaking things down into weekly to understand what you need to accomplish monthly and then moving into quarterly/yearly. Okay. And once again, we're not covering projections because there's a lot of nuance when it comes to projections. So we will cover that probably in another stream. And it'll probably take the entire stream because projections can be a little complicated at times. Okay. So with that being said, that's the weekly game plan. Okay. If you guys have questions on that, you can drop them in chat. So, and then it moves to daily, daily is my favorite by far. Okay. I like to do a little energy check, a little emotional check, productivity, clarity, creativity, and just kind of rate myself on a scale of 1 to 5 big fan of doing temp checks on biology when it comes to energy, emotion, productivity, clarity, creativity. So I'll just come through here, just kind of rate myself 1 through 5 on those items of just how I'm feeling. Get yourself a little self awareness first thing during the day. And then from there, I block out my days. Okay. We actually design the entire day from beginning to end. So if you wake up at 6 a.m., awesome. Okay. We're going to wake up 6 a.m. And then after that, what are we doing? First half hour of the day. Maybe we go for a walk. Okay. Maybe we go hit the sauna for an early morning workout person. Great. Let's go ahead and schedule that in there. Hey, when are we actually starting our day? We start the day, say at 8 a.m. Okay. And the first thing during the day is we're going to do the most difficult task of the day at 8 a.m. Okay. Awesome. We're going to work on our impact item. Okay, maybe it was the building the offer. So 8 o'clock to 10 a.m. We're gonna work on the offer. Maybe we have some client calls after that, 10:30 to 11:30. Okay, and then you're just gonna fill in every half hour of the day what you expect to get done. We're gonna have one daily impact priority. So maybe taking building the offer is gonna take us a day or two. I don't know. I don't know how long it's gonna take you. Okay, but we're gonna start working on that daily impact priority, and we'll put that there. And then we'll break down some other impact items. If we are just flowing through the day, then we'll work on some of these daily impact items. But normally we're trying to get like one big mover done a day. Okay. Sometimes it takes multiple days to get the big items done, but for the most part, this is it. Now, sometimes you have to break up these impact items, like building an offer. There's probably multiple steps to building an offer, right? So, and we'll break that down next week, but you might have to break that down into multiple days or multiple impact items, depending on how it's segmented. Okay. Daily study items. Okay. Consciously pick what you guys are studying on a daily basis. Don't let it just happen. And don't just be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna pick up, this book today." And really the danger is around social media, right? YouTube, Instagram. Okay. The world will dictate what you actually consume if you don't set it in stone for yourself. So make sure you guys measure those study items. Going to be really important for you guys. And then lastly, some daily projections of like what you want to get accomplished. Maybe there's a certain amount of leads that you have to hit, certain number of sales calls you're taking. So you might want to project how many closes you get. Okay. Kind of comes down to some of those things. And then we have a note section, which is just for you to jot some notes throughout the day as needed. Okay. I'm a big note taker, so wanted to include a note section specifically in this planner. Okay. And that's pretty much it. At the end of the week, there are some activities to kind of measure the success of the week. Once again, just some self awareness exercises. I didn't drop those in there today, but they are inside the planner. As you go through the week, you'll notice that there's some self reflection. I think it's either at the end of the week or end of the month. I don't remember. It's one or the other, but it's inside of the planner, and you guys can check that out. Okay, free downloads down below here. Grab your impact planner. Okay, if you guys want to use it, you don't have to use it. I know a lot of people do planning a certain way. This is how I do it. I learned it from some pretty incredible people. And it's been extremely useful for me. So if you guys want to plan your day that way, it does link back into our 1 page impact plan. That's why I like it. Everything kind of flows together. So we take our impact items for the 30 days, we drop them in our impact planner, and then we work on it daily. Okay. So see how that cascades and how that can be really powerful, especially when you're focused on the most important items. You guys vibing with that? Scuba, you vibing with that, bro? I'm vibing with it. I need a little break here for a second. All right.
We need a drink sponsor ASAP.
We need a drink sponsor. That's true. Glitch Energy, sponsor us. 4D Gaming. I need some more peripherals. All right. I don't know if Jacob's in the chat, but if he is, come hang. All right. So that's the impact planner. You guys have questions on the impact planner? If so, drop them in there. It's relatively straightforward. The more you use it, the better you get at it. Okay. The first time you use it, sometimes it's a little bit tough to like kind of plan out the entire month. Just continue using it. Okay. You can just get it downloaded on your iPad. You can get some prints made at Staples, whatever you need to do. Okay. All right. Drop some thumbs up if you guys are vibing with it. We'll move on to the next point here. Okay. We're shifting away now. We're shifting away from the 1 page impact plan. There's a couple other topics I wanted to hit on today, specifically around finance, that I think will be pivotal for you guys starting a business. Now, there's some nuances here. You guys, you have to have an LLC to get like business bank accounts up and running. Okay, so go get your LLC, legal Zoom that, and you guys should be set up and ready to roll. Okay. So with that being said, this is the assumption that you at least have an LLC set up. If you don't, that would be the first step. Second step, kind of moving into your bank accounts. Okay. So what are we going to be chatting about today? Why is this graph here? Why are we talking about finance so soon? Because I think this is one of the most skipped over parts of building a business. And whether you're running an agency or any other business, in my opinion, this is the most skipped over part. And people don't understand how to financially run their business. So I want to cover just, I'm not kidding, the most simple concept when it comes to business finance that you'll ever consume in your entire life. And this specific way of running your business financially has made us profitable as a consultancy from day one and has never had an unprofitable month since. Okay. So from start, almost 2.5 years now, have never had a negative month in our business off of using this specific strategy. So it does work. It's tried and true. It's tested, and it will make it to where you guys don't go negative if you're very cognizant and if you manage your money the correct way. Okay. So let's jump in. It's called the Profit First Method. If you guys have not heard of the book Profit First, it's by the exact same author as Clockwork, which was a recommended or suggested read from one of our earlier streams. Okay. It's a book called Profit First. It literally sits on my shelf. Oh, I think it's over there by you, Tyler. But it literally sits on my desk or shelf very close to me because I always come back and reflect on it. But would highly recommend it. If you guys have not read Profit First, it's probably in my top 5 books that I would recommend for starting entrepreneurs. Okay. So the big question that I normally ask is why most agencies scramble for cash. Okay. Why does it feel like agencies are usually in a cash deficit or they're very close to break even month over month? Okay. Well, this graph gives us a very great explanation of what happens within an agency. So the dotted line that you see here is our income. Okay. That's money in. The solid line that you see here is expenses. Okay. And then we have a couple points A, B, and C to kind of tell a story through the timeline. Okay. Now, you guys might be starting the agency and starting to get some traction with income. Okay. That's these lines here. Okay. Now, as expenses or as income tends to increase, expenses tend to follow. Okay. Makes sense, right? As we need to fulfill for more work, we need to essentially hire more people, put in more infrastructure, maybe get better software. Okay. So our expenses are going to increase, which is natural. Okay. As you guys grow as a business, your expenses will come up. Okay. Now, what happens at a certain point in time in most agencies that I've seen is that we have this month where we just hockey stick. Okay. We stack an extra 10, 20, 30, 40K in new revenue into the business. Okay. That's that big jump up to this A point. Okay. So that's the first point of our story here is that we see a massive gain in new income, new clients. Okay. That's this A point. And what happens? Well, all of a sudden we say, well, shoot, we got all this new revenue. We need to hire. We need to bring on more team. We need to bring on more infrastructure. We need to start putting a leadership team in place. And then what happens? Our expenses very tightly cover our income. Okay. And it chases it up. Now, there's this pivotal point here that happens at B. Okay. And as you can tell, income is a very choppy piece, right? Like there's a lot of instability in income. That's just part of the agency game. Okay. You're going to have instability in income and you're going to see these dips, okay, with these peaks and these troughs pretty often within an agency. What you're not seeing is on the expense side. Okay. Expenses are way more fluid. You don't see these massive dips and influxes in expenses unless you hit like this massive growth period where you see a big influx in expenses. But what happens is we acquire all of these new expenses and it's very difficult to bring it back down, especially if you're bringing on full-time employees. Okay. If you're bringing on new softwares, all of those things. Okay. Softwares are a little bit easier to get out of, but full-time employees, definitely not an easy thing to get out of. You're committed to those people and you want to stay committed to them. Well, what happens when some of those clients churn? And this is very natural within an agency where we have an incredible month. And then maybe 1 to 2 months later, we churn some clients because naturally as we grow, we're not able to fulfill at a high level for our clients, right? We drop the ball on a few projects. It happens. Okay. That's part of being in the service industry. That's part of running an agency. It happens to the best of us. Even if you are great at what you do, as you bring on more team and you're trying to get them ramped up, you do drop the ball. Okay. That does happen. And so as part of that, and it might not be this drastic, but the income drops. And then we start to have to balance out and regain some of that income. And that's at point C. But what's very difficult is that the expenses still stay at a high point, right? And this happens because we bring on new staff. And when we commit to W 2 employees, chances are we commit to them for a very long time. And if we bring them on, say this is a 3-4 month period, well, we try to weather the storm through bringing people on, right? And so this is just a perfect example of when we see increases in income, we have to be very careful when we chase our expenses alongside of income. And we do our best to try and make the most efficient team possible when it comes to our expenses. Okay. That way we don't see these massive dips and all of a sudden, oh shoot, our expenses have surpassed our income on a monthly basis. Okay. Because this income is volatile, which is part of the game. Okay. So we have to be very careful on how we expand our business and how we expand our teams and our expenses. If that's making sense so far, let me know. Okay. So that's the first aspect of it. You guys like it when I do like these little graphs? I think they're kind of fun. Okay. So income and expenses. Little story there. Okay. Then from there, what we have to kind of realize is that the accounting formula that we've all been taught has always been this one right here. Sales minus expenses equals profit. Yeah. It's what's left over. Makes sense, right? You know, we have a certain amount of income, a certain amount of clients that we service on a month-to-month basis. They give us a monthly recurring revenue. That's our sales. That's our income. We have the expense of running the business, and then whatever's left over is our profit. Okay? And in my opinion, this is the most broken formula when it comes to accounting. The new formula that we're going to be teaching you guys today is sales minus profit equals your expenses. Okay? Sales minus profit equals your expenses. So we take our profit first, hence the book name, Profit First, right? And whatever is left over is what we have to operate off of. Pretty simple concept. Really easy to deploy as well. This is not a difficult thing to deploy across your business. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, if that's okay with you guys. And I'm sure you guys are wondering, why is there a tube of toothpaste sitting here? It's a reminder for me to tell you a story about a tube of toothpaste. Okay. We'll get there in a second. Okay. After the four core principles. Why is it so quiet in the chat right now? I don't get it. This must be like super boring or something. You guys not like it when I talk about finance? It's cool. It's cool. We don't have to continue. A roll call in the chat. We're here, baby. Let's go. No, you guys have been super talkative. I appreciate it. I'm just giving you guys some shit. Okay. So let's talk about the 4 principles of Profit First, guys. So there's 4 principles that you guys will learn inside of Profit First. It's use small plates, serve sequentially, remove temptation, and force a rhythm. And basically the idea behind this comes from like a nutrition concept of like using small plates, serve sequentially, remove temptation, and enforce rhythm. That's kind of what the concept comes from, but we'll kind of skip over that and we'll just kind of jump right into it. And so why do I have a tube of toothpaste here? Is the scuba toothpaste. Okay. Why do we have a tube of toothpaste here? Great question. Okay. Great question. So our business is just like a tube of toothpaste, or conceptually, that's the way I like to see it. Okay. So when we have a brand new tube of toothpaste, what do we generally do? Well, we tend to use a lot of toothpaste, right? You get a brand new one, you pop it open, you put a big old glob of toothpaste right on your toothbrush. Okay. It's natural. There's a lot available, right? But what happens when we have this empty tube of toothpaste and we don't have any reserves left over? What do? We squeeze the shit out of it to get something to brush our teeth, right? We make this work. And that's the concept that we're going to bring into this Profit First example of, we're going to squeeze this tube of toothpaste as hard as we can. We're going to make something work. Okay. and we're going to get the most out of this tube of toothpaste as possible. Okay. So kind of keep this concept in the back of your mind. It'll make more sense as we jump in. Okay. So the first two pieces that we're going to cover is using small plates and serving sequentially. Okay. Now, what do we mean by using small plates? Well, when we go to set up finances for our business, when we go to set up our bank accounts for our business, we're going to use plates. Okay. And our plates are our bank accounts. And we're going to have 5 total bank accounts when we set this up. We're going to have an income account. We're going to have a profit account, a tax account, owner's comp, and OPEX. And I've labeled them for you of what account needs to be what. So our income will be a checking account. Profit will be a savings account. Tax will also be a savings account. Owner's comp will be checking. And then operating expenses will be a checking account. Okay. So you're going to have to set up 5 accounts for your business here. I know it seems like a lot, but it will make a ton of sense in a second. Now, when it comes to our plates, our income account is our biggest plate. This is what we consider the serving platter for our business. So any new income, so if you guys set up like a Stripe account, if you guys are using any whatever you're using to charge your clients, invoice your clients, it is going to get plugged into something that we call our income account. Now, when you set this up, we're trying to bank with a bank with a bank, yeah, bank with a bank that doesn't have any minimum on their checking account. So we're going to try and look for this, or we're going to try and negotiate to where we can take this income account to 0 twice a month. Because all this is a serving platter for the other 4 accounts that we're utilizing: the profit account, tax account, owner's comp, and OPEX. Okay. So type serving platter into the chat for me. Platter. Okay. Income is your serving platter. That's all you need to know for right now. These other plates are your small plates. Okay. So income, serving platter. Both said it. Serving platter. Okay. Now, from there, we have to start our taps and starting taps. Okay. What is taps? Well, it's your target allocation percentages. Okay. Target allocation percentages. And taps are going to look like this. Income is always going to be 100%. So 100% of your income, okay, your invoices going out that are getting paid, 100% of those are going to get dumped into your income account. This is a checking account, and you're going to distribute 100% of that income across 4 different accounts. Now, we have different percentages here. I'll go through, depending on where you're at in your business, what target allocation percentages you're at, but we're at 0 to 250K because this is a brand new agency. So this is what they're going to look like. We're going to immediately, okay, and this is where the concept of serving sequentially is going to come in, okay? The first thing that we're going to do is set up that profit account immediately from our income, 5%, okay? That's it. We're going to dedicate 5% cash of our total income directly into our profit account. It's the first thing that we're going to take. We have to take profit first here. Okay. We're going to start building that cash reserve. This is what's going to help us get there. Okay. So immediately we're going to take profit out. After that, got to pay Uncle Sam. Okay. It's essential. Got to pay taxes, guys. Like you're not going to get around that one, unfortunately. 15% of that total income. Okay. This is assuming that you have some sort of tax strategy in place. If you have 0 tax strategy, you're going to need more than 15%. So guys, if you start to build a business, get a tax strategist. Do not, in my opinion, like unless you're like well studied in taxes, get someone to help you do this. Okay. It's not that expensive to actually do, especially if you're knocking on your first 100K per year. I would say get a tax specialist to help you save money on taxes because it'll pay for itself. Okay. So 15% allocated to taxes. If you have a gangster strategy and you have a great tax strategist, 12.5%. Okay. And then owner's comp, right off the bat, 50%. Okay. Especially if you're just getting started in this arena. Guys, I mean, just think if you're making 100K a year in your agency just getting started, 50% is 50K. Okay. Not a whole lot. So owner's comp is going to be really high because you got to pay yourself. You got to eat. You got to have a place to live. 50K is, not a ton of money right now, especially in this economy. Right. So make sure you guys are paying yourself. And then boom, Very last, what do we see? Operating expenses. 30% dedicated to operating expenses after we've taken the distributions of profit, tax, and owner's comp. So you're taking care of your profit first, you're paying Uncle Sam, then you're paying yourself, and then whatever's left over is operating expenses. Okay, that last 30%. And that's what you have to operate off of. And that's where the concept of this tube of toothpaste comes in, is that if we make less available to ourselves, we won't use as much. Okay. So if we only have 30% to operate off of, great. Well, we have 30% to operate off of. Okay. They call that Parkinson's law. So if there's less available, you will use less to operate your business. So make less available. If you want to cut this even more, great. Put more into profit if you can. Put more into owner's comp if you can. You don't need to put more into tax. Okay. But that's how it should flow. Okay. Make less available to yourself so you don't get into this point of expenses are going to exceed your income. This is what we're trying to avoid. And then from there, based on your annual revenue, this is how your total allocation percentages will change. 0 to 250K, the exact example I just gave. As you continue to grow, things will adjust. 250K to 500K, profit bumps to 10%. Okay. We're going to jump that up just a little bit. That's 10% cash profit that we're bringing in. Okay. Owner's comp, 35%. So we're going to drop that a little bit. Okay. You're going to probably need to make a little bit less at that point. Tax will stay the same, roughly 15%. If you get a great strategist, 12.5. And then you can allocate those extra percentages somewhere else. And then operating expenses bump up to 40%. Okay. So we are clearing some more room for operating expenses here, but we're still taking care of profit. We're still taking care of owner's comp. We're still taking care of tax first. Cool. 500K to $1 million, it adjusts again. Once again, 15% to profit. We're increasing those profit margins a little bit more. Taxes, OpEx. Now, just because this says 15% doesn't mean you can't take more, but this is like cash on hand, right? This is like profit cash, okay? Like cash that we'll actually put into an account and not touch, unless we're investing into something, or we have an expansion of the team, whatever it might be. Okay, you can also just do profit distributions through this as well. Okay, there's a lot of things that you can do through this profit. Okay, operating expenses bump up to 50%. Okay, that's just naturally what happens. And then 1 million to 5 million, 5 million to 10 million. Okay, once again, these are all adjusting a little bit more, dropping owner's comp down to 10%. Profit 10%, tax 15%, operating expenses 65%. Now, hopefully we can operate on a little bit higher margins than this, but this is a great exercise to at least start. And then from there, obviously we have a little bit more operating cash on hand. Doesn't mean that you're only collecting 10% profit, because you'll probably have some operating cash always in OpEx. So even if you're having 40% margins, 35% margins, okay, doesn't mean you're putting all that capital away. We're going to keep some of that in OpEx always. Okay. Hence why this number increases. Okay. Good stuff. Making sense so far? Hopefully that's helpful, because this is something I wish I would have known when we started our first agency. Okay. Very safe way to do your accounting and making sure that you guys are always staying in a profitable position. Okay. Now, if you're someone that has a problem with taking your profit money and putting it back into the business, this needs to be set up at a different bank, under a different bank account, and you just transfer money over there twice a month. Okay. If you are going to use this, you have to have self-control here. You cannot take your profit money and go and use it. You have to actually make less available to yourself and put it out of sight, out of mind. Now, if you're like, hey, like, I know I can't touch this, okay, then keep it at the same bank. It's a little bit easier that way. But if you're like Josh, like, I got a problem where I just take my profit and I just dump it back into the business, okay, put it at a different bank then. Okay, put your profit account at a different bank. Cool beans? Sweet. Eli said, fire emoji. I agree, bro. Okay. Number 3 was remove temptation, which I could just kind of talked about there. If you don't see it, you won't access it, right? So if you are having that problem, get that profit account somewhere else. Okay. Get it into another bank, and then you can just make your distribution over there. Okay, you could write that bank account a check every month. Okay, and then enforce your rhythm. Okay, the book says a 10-25 rule. So on the 10th and 25th of every month, that's when they make their distributions. I do mine on 1st and 15th. Okay, so this is when distributions happen. We take the distribution out of the income account. Okay, when we do our allocations, take it out of the income account and we distribute and allocate across profit, tax, owner's comp, and OpEx. We do it rhythmically. So ours is the 1st and 15th. The book says the 10th and the 15th. Whatever the rhythm is for you guys, it's totally fine. Doesn't really matter. But set this rule for yourself. Put it on your calendar on the 1st and the 15th, on the 10th and the 25th of every month. It's very rhythmic. Okay. And you guys are going to hear me say rhythmic all the time. A business runs on a rhythm. Okay. And everything that I'm going to be teaching you guys through these live streams is going to design a rhythm for the business. Okay. So the 10-25 rule or 1 in 15 rule, you can pick your own dates if you want to. It could be the 13th and the freaking 29th. I don't care. Okay. But set a rhythm for the business for you to do your allocations. Okay. And be this kind of tube of toothpaste right here. Make less available for yourself. That way you squeeze the efficiency out of the team, squeeze the efficiency out of the business. Make less available to yourself so there's more profit. Cool beans? All right. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Template zone right over in this right-hand corner. If you guys want the templates, a couple things available here for you guys. We have the one-page impact plan template. You guys can copy and paste that into your own board. Grab your impact planners. And then the last thing here, if you guys want and are using ClickUp, you can get your impact list template here. Yeet. Open that up. Okay. There's a template for you guys to use. It is the impact template. Let me pull up that template real quick. Okay. This is what it'll look like on the inside. You guys can bring this into your own impact board. It's a very simple setup, guys. It's not super complex at all. You could build this out relatively quick by yourself, but we did it for you. So you didn't have to. Okay. And essentially, these are your impact items. Okay. Who's assigned to it? So if you guys want to bring this digitally, awesome. Bring it in and ClickUp. Okay. And you can assign people to it. You can put your due date, gives things a priority. And then we have departments. Okay. What department is this? Okay. Is it sales and revenue? Is it clients and fulfillment? The operations and systems. And then if you build out subtasks underneath here, okay, it will contribute to the progress bar. Okay. If I complete that, okay, it'll contribute to that progress bar. Okay. So utilize that as much as you want. I'm going to undo that real quick and just delete this. That way I don't mess up the template. And then we will open it up for Q&A if you guys have any. Okay. So this is optional. You don't have to use this, but it is there and available for you if needed. Woo! I feel like I've been talking for a minute. Yeah. Coach Cam, thank you. Thanks for the temps. You're welcome, brother. Bo, this was awesome. Great, man. Yeah. Ask questions if you guys want me to answer some questions. Happy to answer those. You can come into the stream and actually ask if you'd like to, and you can actually jump in here. Let me invite you guys. We'll probably do 15-20 minutes of Q&A if you guys want to. There is the stream link if you guys want to jump in and chat with me live, or you can drop them in chat, one or the other. Either one works for me, whatever works for you guys. But if you click that link, it will have you join the stream and we can bring you up and chat. So grab that copy of the one-page impact plan. That'll be important for you guys. Take anything from this page. Please try not to move stuff. If you move stuff, just hit undo for me. Super helpful. Okay. We'll let those questions roll in here. If there's no questions, no big deal. We can end the stream a little bit early. If you guys want to jump in to the stream, say what's up. That's fine too. Whatever you guys are feeling. 12? Let's go. The whole squad. We got one person watching on Twitch right now. You love to see that.
On YouTube.
400 what? Let's go. 400 subscribers on YouTube. Guys, the goal is 2,000 this year. So excited about that. Hopefully we can continue to contribute. Before I bring Bo up, okay, there's 12 of you here. There should be 12 likes on the live stream on YouTube. So if you guys could like, would appreciate it. Helps us reach more people, be able to give this information out to more people. Okay. That way you guys can get those agencies up and running efficiently, profitably. Okay. That would be great. Thank you. Much love. Bojangles
No
in
way.
the building, baby.
Crazy. Hello, hello.
How you feeling, brother?
Fantastic. That was a great stream. That was awesome.
Thank you,
And
man.
thank you for the link to this mural board. I didn't grab it before, but I'm glad I got the link now. This is great.
Beautiful.
So, quick niche cue.
Yeah.
Whenever we're looking at like not agency, let me look at it. Owners comp versus OpEx.
Yeah.
For the sake of argument, there's a very small company, and there's 2 owners and 1 new employee. Would OpEx come out of, or would a salary come out of OpEx?
Yeah, so it's kind of dependent on how you guys are taking owner's compensation. It's actually funny that you asked this because in the consultancy, we just lump our owner's comp into OpEx. So we actually don't even have an owner's comp bank account. We only have an OpEx and we just draw everything from operating expenses. So it gives you guys a rough estimate of how much you should be taking an owner's comp. So say you're doing $100,000, 50K, 50K of that $100,000 should be dedicated to owner's comp until until a certain point, right?
That's great.
And so whether the rest of operating expenses is put into salary, you also have to, you're going to have some tech costs in there as well. But really, agency is just salaries, right? Service-based businesses, it's just salaries. All the other stuff comes down to mostly just tech and whatever else. Yeah, I know a lot of agencies buy into like courses, coaching programs like that can stack up as well. But for the most part, owners comp, OpEx, they run in tandem. They're very similar, but we break it out in this specific example to show you, hey, if you're at X amount of revenue, here's what owners should be taking out of the company.
That's great. Also, I've never heard of the profit first, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. You guys, if you haven't heard of Profit First, Clockwork, Mike Michalowicz is one of the best authors when it comes to getting a business really not even started. Like the concepts, they're so simple, but they do run. They will expand into scale, right? So it's not just for beginners, but the way he lays things out makes it very beginner friendly. It is not complicated. It's very simple concepts that are very easily applied, and they do carry into multi-million dollar businesses. So check out him. He's my favorite author by far when it comes to business. Just from a entertainment standpoint, would highly recommend his audibles. He's a very entertaining author. So definitely check him out. Okay, bye, Bo. Jeez. Just said peace and just dipped. What other questions can I ask? Or what other questions can I ask? What kind of questions can I answer for you guys? Hopefully this stuff is helpful. And you guys got some good takeaways from this. Love these concepts. Great, David. I'm glad it was helpful, man. If you guys want to come up on chat, you can come up on stream and chat with me, or you can drop questions inside of the chat as well. Dylan asked, would the OpEx be used to pay off a company credit card? It would. Yes, 100%. So operating expenses. So anything that you're paying on a credit card will be paid off through OpEx. Correct. So use OpEx to pay it off. You just have to be obviously careful with your credit card that you don't spend more than what's available in operating expenses, because we don't want to acquire debt, right? Which debt is a useful tool, but in just getting started, we're going to try and be a debt-free company, right? Great question. Bo's still here. Love to see it. Cool. Other questions? I mean, there's 12 of us here. We should have a few more questions, hopefully. Tanner, when do we sign up? What do you mean, when do we sign up? For what? What are we signing up for? And the wiffle ball league, man. Hey, we're going to start that Hydra pickleball next week. Where you guys at? We used to do flag football back in the day. There's nothing to sign up for, brother. This information is free 99. Just for you. What other questions do you guys have? Comments, concerns, epiphanies, takeaways? Give me some takeaways if you don't have questions. This is that awkward part of the stream where there's just not there's not enough people to ask questions, so we just sit here and wait just a little bit, you know? It's all good. No worries. Hey, Tanner's jumping in. Let's go.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, Tanner?
Not much, man. Just chilling.
I like your haircut, bro. We're on that same vibe, you know?
Yes. So, I started the women.
Oh shoot.
So,
Wait, hold on, Tanner. Tanner, 2 seconds.
Um,
Are you on Safari by chance? So whatever reason this Restream app does not work with Safari, it like makes your audio cut in and out. If you come back through Google though, it will come in crystal clear.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason Safari doesn't work. But if you come in through Google, the audio will come through it but it like cuts off your voice like every half a second. So I'll have you drop out for a quick second while you fix that up, and then come back in through Google if you can. That way we can hear you loud and clear. Coach Cam, how would you recommend going about partnerships? Elaborate just a little bit more for me on partnerships, Cam. Give me some context there, because there's a lot of a lot of different types of partnerships. All right, let's bring Tanner back up here. Boom, that was quick.
yeah. I got Safari and Google Chrome open.
Beautiful.
So I switched. Our head at an agency started in California, and so I switched it to the women's niche that you talked about, and
Okay,
I'm
cool.
totally taking it. Yeah. So the girl it was a girl out there. It worked out, and so I'm totally switching it. So we're doing women's beauty salon. We're doing facial place. We've signed up. We're doing a the smorgasbords, which is women's owned out there. At what point for that agency? Because I have two other agencies with other partners, but for that agency, at what point do you think would be good to sign up with you? Because at one point, I'd rather just turn over, especially since you kind of literally laid it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather turn it. We're already profitable. We're already above the 10K a month every month, so we're already at that place. But what point do you think to turn it over to bring you guys on?
Yeah, so obviously for those that don't know, inside of the group, we run a consultancy for digital marketing agencies. Yeah, it's how we get paid, but we do give this information away for free. Like a lot of what we teach here is actually what we teach inside of our program. So, but if you're wanting a little bit more information on that, Tanner, shoot me a DM after this, and we can set up a call together. But normally, agencies that get started with us are roughly around the 30K per month mark. Anything
Okay.
before that. One, it doesn't make too much financial sense for them to start with us. But two, we want to make sure that the offer and what you guys are offering is solidified and there's some market fit and you guys have some traction already. Because what we're great at is not necessarily getting agencies from like 0 to 30K, but we're great at getting agencies from 30K to $1 million and then $1 million to 10 million. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to ask, like, because you were going through, Profit First, which I love, and use for a couple of my other companies. But for this specific one, we're switching. We're at 30K right now as a whole for the agency, but that's in a lot of men and real estate aspects of things that I want to go ahead and separate the two and make it just a women-owned niche like you were talking about. So
Yeah.
I just was wondering at what step, but you answered my question, so that's good to know.
Cool, man. Yeah, if you're at 30K, let's hop on a call together and we can definitely jam on some stuff. And if it's a great fit, awesome. If not, obviously we'll be very transparent. There are some agencies that just aren't a good fit for what we do. So yeah, we're happy to hop on a call with you and jam a little bit more about it.
Yeah, and I would want to have the girl that's actually running it on that call too, because that's who y'all would be doing it with.
100%.
So,
I love that.
And to make it apply, I think, to to this call, do you think that 30K is about the time that people should be investing into masterminds, mentorship, those kind of things, period?
No, I don't think so. There are different levels of coaching and consulting offers for different levels of entrepreneurship, right? Um, as far as our program goes, it tends to align with one price point and then where the agencies are currently at when we're the most helpful. Whereas in other programs, they're great at getting people started from, like a perfect example is like Iman Godzi, for example, great at getting agency owners started and getting them to their first 10K months. It's the price is good. It's for people that probably have a job and are trying to get out of that job and into the agency space. Joel Kaplan's another great one. That he has some really great introductory price points. It's just not the type of client that we necessarily want to work with. And so we work with a little bit more advanced agency owners, and those guys work with advanced agency owners too. But they have more introductory programs that are a little bit cheaper that allow people to get the coaching and consulting that they need to get to their 30K months, right? So that's what I would say.
Cool.
Cool, man. Any other questions while we have you here?
Nope, that's it.
All right, man. Well, dude, nice to. I don't think I've ever met you before. I've seen you kind of bumping around social media and stuff, but nice to finally put a face to a name.
Yeah, no, and your next event looked to be able to make it, so
Hey,
I'll
let's
definitely
go.
see you there.
Love it, man. Yeah, tickets will go on sale on probably end of the week, maybe this weekend, depending on when our website gets finalized and finished. So we will have tickets on sale relatively soon. They will go quick. There's only 65 of them, and about half of our client roster will be attending. So at least 25 of those tickets will already be accounted for. So they will go quick. So just pay attention to the socials and make sure you grab one when they go on sale.
Sounds good. Appreciate it,
All right,
Josh.
Tanner. Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. We'll talk soon. All right, let's answer some more questions because they are flowing in right now. So, Coach Cam, getting back to your question about partnerships with content creators, what's the best way to go about these? And working with ad agency to help deliver content monthly. So, Coach Cam, as far as partnerships go, would recommend, especially if you're trying to get more involved with agencies, to work out some sort of like white label deal. So have a price point specifically for whatever work that you're doing. And then also give the agency what your upcharge price would be for them to make money on it. So say you're doing content at 2K, maybe give them the option to charge their client 3K. So they collect $1,000, you get $2,000 for actually delivering the service. They introduce you in, right? That's normally how it works as far as like a white labeled go. White labels go. The agency will make a little bit of money while you'll make the majority of the money for fulfilling on the actual service, right? That's a rough, how partnerships will work. Okay. With other content creators, same thing. If you're bringing someone in, normally you're contracting them out. So maybe you give them a flat fee for delivering on a project. You just want to make sure the margins are fitting within that contractor that you're bringing in. So if you have a $3,000 project, make sure there's enough margin to cover your own expenses, to cover your pay, to cover what you need to get done in the business. And then, whatever is kind of left over is nice to have for that contractor coming in. So if you're working with content creators, give them obviously a piece of the pie, but, make sure that it makes sense for that project that you're on. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. Let me know, Cam, if that's helpful. Okay. Dylan, when bringing on a contractor to a full-time employee, what is the proper steps to take, if you can put it simply? Yeah, man. So this is a question that I get really frequently, is when to bring on contractors versus full-time employees. And really the graph that I showed you in today's stream really lays things out nicely. Okay. So let's go ahead and zoom into it real quick. And I think this will kind of give you some good input here. Okay. So once again, income is always kind of turbulent. Okay. Hopefully it's not this turbulent. Like this is a pretty drastic example of how turbulent an agency can be. But normally for part-time hires, when we see so this a part of the diagram, when we see this big increase in income, this is normally when we want to bring on our contracted employees. Why? Because this is a new standard for our business and we're not sure if we're going to level off, right? Now, what's great about this is say we hit this nice peak and we're fulfilling for this work through these months here. these are contracted employees. Well, a worst case scenario, and this happens, and it's not really even worst case scenario, but we see a dip. Okay, well, contractors are contracted, right? We don't have to keep them on during these dips, so we could say, hey, there's just no work during this time. Now, if we brought on full-time employees, if you brought in a W-2 employee and you're like, we're committing to this employee for a long term, well, this makes it way more difficult, right? So normally what I'm trying to do is, if you kind of notice that this baseline here is over here as well, okay? So this is slightly above this baseline. This is normally when I'm looking to bring on my next full-time hire, is right around this area, maybe going into this peak here, because I'm like, okay, we've established this baseline, right? And when we've established this baseline, chances are we're not going to go much further below that baseline, and we're going to be able to stack that revenue back on top of each other. So normally I'm looking to bring on that full-time hire right about here. So this is why tracking your guys' financial data is really important, and having a good understanding of, some of the peaks that you're having. At the peaks, we're bringing on contracted employees. When we start to stabilize, that's when I'm looking to bring on full-time employees. Cool. Hopefully that makes sense. Dylan, let me know if that makes sense. Where are we getting dinner after, man? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Trying to get, it's pizza. It's what, National Pizza Day, right? Oh my God, get out of here. All right. And then Dylan had one last question here. Best restaurant in Nashville. Oh, dang. Best restaurant in Nashville. Ooh, okay. So for me, I'm a huge steak fan, so I gotta say E3 Chop House. It's my favorite chop house in Nashville. Close second would probably be Bourbon Steak. Some people think it's trash, but I actually like it. It's a cool view. Got some good vibes at Bourbon Steak. But E3 is definitely the spot if you're really wanting a steak. They have their own steak or own farm that they butcher their own meat from. It's excellent. Would highly recommend it. So E3 Steakhouse. I think this is actually a chain, but I'm a huge fan of this other place called Barcelona Wine Bar as well. Barcelona Wine Bar is in Nashville, but I think they've got locations around the country, but it's excellent. It's one of my favorite spots to go. If you like more like Spanish food, tapas, really great spot as well. So check that out. All right, Eli. Is your event in Nashville? It is in Nashville, baby. Nashville, Vegas. It will be right downtown and down on Demumbrian, baby. No, it'll be downtown Nashville. It'll be right off of Broadway. It will be in the mix. It'll be super fun. So yeah, it will be in Nashville. So come on through. What is Caleb? Oh, we got both Alvarez's in here. Let's go. What is the best way to identify your cost per pricing tier you are offering? Cost per pricing tier that you're offering. Caleb, give me a little bit more context on that. I don't necessarily understand the question. You can also jump in the stream if you want to, and you can ask the question here as well. So I'll drop the stream link again if you want to jump in. Okay. And then Caleb, second question here. How do you identify how much each editing team can hold for a work standpoint? Okay. Example, if you are scaling clients, how do you project your hiring? There he is. My main man. Bring him on up.
My man.
What up, brother? How you doing,
man? I'm phenomenal. Excited to be here.
Cool.
So two questions.
Yeah. Yeah, let me hit this question for you real quick, because this is a relatively easy one. So when it comes to your editing team and how much capacity that they actually have, time tracking is going to be really important for you guys to understand the capacity that your team is currently able to uphold. And then from there, it's basically, once you have a good understanding of how many billable hours that they're actually working. And I have a calculator that I can send to you if you want me to. At some point, we'll cover this in a stream, but it's this is some of the deep shit that we really have to get into. But I can send you a calculator that will help you configure how billable your team actually is. But you have to implement time tracking in order to figure out how billable your team is. It's not something that you have to keep long-term, but we recommend doing it at least twice a year just to learn about the capacity of the team, what projects are profitable, how much, certain clients are taking a certain amount of time away from you, but that is going to help you identify when it's time to grow and expand into a new editing pod, into a new editing team, okay, as you guys continue to grow and scale. So having a good understanding of how much time they're spending on clients, how billable they are, all is going to factor into how much work that they can actually do and when the next point to expand actually is. And the percentage that we're looking for, we don't want our team to exceed 85% billable work, so billable hours, because we need that 15% buffer for internal meetings, trainings, kind of all lunch breaks, all the kind of BS that happens in between. As we start to hit that 85% capacity, you'll notice that the team's starting to hit a ceiling. Okay. But we can only find that out through time tracking and having an understanding of how many projects they're working on and how billable they actually are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Because one bottleneck that I'm running into is like understand and I can hit you up potentially on the side about this. Maybe I need deeper support. Is like understand the projection of like reverse engineer our revenue goal, and from a sales standpoint, outreach standpoint, etc. Having a hard time being able to identify pod development, hire development, like all of that to kind of hit our revenue goals.
Dude, there's so many little nuances in there that have to be accounted for, right? So the first thing is understanding the sales metrics and then tying those sales metrics into the expansion of the team. You're totally right. There's a ton of nuances there. We probably don't have, I don't have all the resources in front of me to kind of like lay it out for you. Because like, there's some plugging and chugging of numbers that we would want to do. But if you have a good understanding of your sales metrics and how many leads you can generate, and what your revenue goal is, we can kind of match those pieces up together because we have to measure everything from leads generated to people that actually book a call with you, measuring our show rate as well of like, hey, we book calls, but like not everybody shows up, right? And then from those shows, how many closes that we actually get. And then from those closes that we have to, you also factor in churn rate. You have to factor in, lifetime value of those clients, right? As we continue to grow and expand, because we have people exiting as people are entering, like it's just part of the natural agency flow. It's something that it never feels perfected by any means, but the closer we can get and the better estimates that we can get, the better decisions that we'll make on actually expanding those pods, right?
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So with that being said, like one bottleneck that I'm having is like I don't have an issue locking in like high ticket retainers, like contracts, and I have a long LTV, like with zero, as of now, over 2-year span, zero churn. But we're at 30,000 reoccurring, let's call it baseline. And looking to scale the team, we kind of went over this in Nashville. And what I'm identifying is like what I built like by myself is like almost its own business. I'm looking to stabilize it. And then I'm looking to build new offer tiers, which are way more systematized, way more direct, from a video editing agency standpoint. Systematize and basically stabilize this side of the business, take less profit, and then build the bridge to come over to this, basically building a new room, a new infrastructure. But keeping our profit on one side.
Why can't we expand the current offering?
Because the current offering, they all are very custom and they all have different SOPs per project.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
Each client, if we have 4 clients, each client requires a very specific operation standpoint. So client 1 has different deliverables than client 2. Maybe it's just saying each client you get the same deliverables, very similar SOPs. But for example, if we have an ed tech company, they're different than like the client that we're doing TikTok content for.
Gotcha.
They're different system.
In my opinion, you don't necessarily have, really a scaling problem. It's more of an offer problem. If you don't feel like you can get this because it's so customized and it's so each offer is SOP, dependent. It might not be the right offer. So you're probably on the right track of like there needs to be a more simple offer that you guys can grow and scale. So I think that's probably decision on your guys' end, because whatever offer that we're rolling out, the hope is that we can scale it to $1 million, right? Before we
Mhm.
expand into our next offering. That's kind of the rule of thumb. I don't know where it came from. It's just kind of been my rule of thumb since starting in business is one offer, get it to $1 million, and then expand into a second offer, right? Whether that is with the same niche, maybe you alter the niche slightly, whatever it might be. But normally we're going to try, if the offer can't stand and get to $1 million, then it's probably not the right vehicle, right? So
Yeah.
with what you guys are doing, if it's like a little bit too customized and you're like, dude, like it's just really hard because we get so much friction from everything from onboarding to, learning all of like the different avatars, whatever it is. Okay, we're having a really hard time scaling it. Might not be the right offer right now until
Mhm.
you get something in place that will allow you to do a little bit more custom work.
That's the exact clarity that I've had the last week. Do you recommend, obviously it's like we're generating, that's our profit right now. Like, is it stabilizing that and then building this offer? Or is it like shutting that down? I would assume it's not
Yeah.
shutting it down.
Yeah,
Starting-
no. Definitely stabilizing it, because we don't want to like cut revenue out because obviously you guys need need revenue for your own survival, right? So whenever we are trying to fix, especially an offer, normally what we're doing is we're just kind of stabilizing one offer, and then we're launching the second offer in tandem with it. But we want to make sure that second offer is very scalable. You understand the problems with your current offer. Make sure that those same problems aren't transferred over because then you have two problem offers and then you just have a mess of an agency to run. So whatever you're scaling out now, make it repeatable, make it simple. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly
Simple
what
as
we're doing.
possible.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. I appreciate that clarity because
Of
that's the
course.
realization that I had. And I was like, this second offer that we're building, it's scalable to $1 million plus. So that's
Beautiful.
exactly the feedback I was looking for. Thank you.
100%. And
Hop out
that's
of
the
here.
vessel you should run with.
Awesome.
All right, brother.
I'll
Sounds
here
good.
so someone can hop in. Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate it, man. Awesome, guys. Any other questions, comments, concerns, Epiphany? Caleb, if you have other questions, just let me know. Can jam on a few more things, and then we are going to jet here in a minute because it's dinner time, dude. Gotta eat. Caleb, you got anything else for me, brother? Bring you back in for a second.
It's almost dinner time for me. Literally, dinner is almost ready. Lindsay's wrapping it
Let's
up.
go. What up, Lindsay?
Hello. Did you hear her? Yeah.
I heard her.
She's over there cooking. Smells nice. So the only other question that I had is from a team standpoint, when we're building the second offer and we have, like, I'm going to break it down as a pod. If we have a pod and we have two people that are pod like leaders with editors underneath it, when do you say, okay, how do you determine who gets pulled over to the second offer versus still stabilizes? Or is that a new hire for the second offer and the individuals that are pod leaders are just leading that pod over there until
Yeah.
Because in my head, it's like, if we're at 30,000 reoccurring, build the second offer that's scalable past that amount. And then we can decide, is this worth, keeping it or removing it?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if there's necessarily a right or wrong answer here, but whenever we were expanding into like a second pod, we were always taking someone that was a little bit more seasoned and mixing them in with people that were a little bit more green, right? So with that being said, I don't know if there's necessarily a right or wrong answer to that. I would say at 30K monthly, there's not probably a lot of room on the operating expenses to bring on a new team. So there will have to be some way that you guys expand without hiring people, because I know you have a couple people on the team currently. So ideally we keep our profit margins in check and not hire new teammates unless the labor is relatively cheap, right? Which I think you're using some overseas talent slash South American talent, which I know comes at a little bit cheaper rate. So with that being said, we're going to try not to stack more operating expenses until this new offer has a little bit of traction and we're able to start developing that pod, right? So I would maybe bring one person over there, maybe splits time between the two projects until you get some legs on that pod, and it'll kind of be hustle season for a minute, and like people are gonna have to like probably put in some hours But normally during those seasons, I'm like, hey, help is coming. Like we're interviewing people, and we always keep the interview pipeline open. That way we're ready to hire people immediately as soon as we have the capacity for it.
Perfect. And maybe this is in one of your last videos. In terms of building out the offer and hosting it like on a website, is there a recommendation that you have for that, as I've skipped that step?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna be chatting about offer next week, but what's the offer gonna be priced at per month?
So I want to do 3 tiers. One, it just increases from an editing hour standpoint.
Yep.
Basically 2,000, 4,000, 8,000.
Okay. Are they going to be able to buy this on the website, or are you going to be on sales calls?
Both.
Both. Okay. So in my opinion, anything above like the 3 to 4K range should always hit a sales call.
Okay.
And I am a big fan of not letting the clients choose, but me prescribing based off of where they're currently at, what package that they get. Because are you the professional in content creation, or are they the professional in content creation?
We are.
You are, right? And so why would they choose what package if you're the professional? They're coming to you for your help. You need to dictate what package they go with based off where they are at in their own business, based off of their budget, their revenue. And you need to be able to do that during a discovery of a sales call. So you know what to fit them perfectly into, right? So if they come to you and they say, hey, I'm at X, Y, and Z, like, perfect. I got, the perfect package for you is actually going to be this package, right? And it's not even going to be like tier 1, 2, or 3. They're not even going to see that. It's good for internal use to say, yeah, we got 3 packages that we normally run with, but you're the doctor, right? You're the prescriber. You don't go to the doctor and they just give you medicine, right? Or they don't open the drug cabinet and say, whatever you want, dude, run it. Whatever drug you want, you have the pick of it, right? Definitely not the case. You're the doctor, you're the prescriber. So when they come to you and ask for a prescription, you prescribe them what they need, not what they want. Otherwise, they're going to pick the lower option. They're going to pick the easiest thing for them. So run the sales call, listen to where they're currently at, what their problems are, what the need is for content. Like, hey, based off where you're currently at, this is the package that we think would be the best for you. It's going to be this content. It's going to be, this much deliverables. Let's run it. Okay. And it's only one. You're only giving them one option.
And then on the backside, build out like in the internal side, build out clear deliverables of like what those are, like what each package gets.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I miss it in a video, or we're hitting on that next week for offer?
Yeah, we're going to talk about offer next week.
I'll just wait till next week then.
Yeah, you're good. I mean, if you got a question now, I'm happy to hit it for you.
I think for me, it's just like, I think I need to track the editor's hours to understand at what percentage where they're currently at from a workload standpoint. Yep. I would say they're over 85%, 100%. They're working their tails off. Yep. And so it's all hands on deck. They're doing a phenomenal job. And it comes back to me like getting all of this in line to basically systematize area 1, move over to area 2. I'm having a hard time like with the video editing side. Like, for example, if we have a client that's at 12,000 reoccurring, how our current model is like they might be getting equivalent value that someone at 8,000 is getting, because as we've grown, we just locked in larger and larger retainers. But that doesn't mean that like the scope is changing. It's just we got better at closing, positioning, etc. Yeah. And so through experience, and so with the offer, like at $2,000 versus $8,000, to me, it's not a crazy difference. And I'm having a hard time like creating that separation of like, you need the 2,000, you need the 4,000 versus the 8,000, or you need a very custom 12 to 20,000 reoccurring. Here's the whole 9 yards. My expertise is like the 12 to 20 reoccurring, not the $2,000 system. You just need to post content, etc.
Yeah, I mean, if that's where the expertise lies and that's what the offer is, because essentially what you're going to do is eventually you're going to exit those lower packages out of your ecosystem. Not saying to do it now. especially if you're in the need of the revenue. But as you sign higher tiered clients, there's essentially two options for the lower tiered clients is, hey, we either graduate you into some of our larger package and some of our newer pricing, or we end up dropping those clients.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. Yep, that makes sense. And then from like scope, we'll go over the scope next week. Like, hey, ideally, scope would look like this within those tiers.
Yeah, we could talk a little bit more about scope within each tier next week. But overall, like it really is going to come down to the timing of how long it takes to actually deliver on the certain amount of deliverables. Because really, I mean, they're paying for your team's time. That's what you guys are exchanging. So the scope of the deliverables shouldn't change drastically. It's just the amount of deliverables that they're getting that they're paying for, right? Because it's just more deliverables at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're doing something on the strategy side that's vastly different from one package to the other, but that's complicating things. Your strategy should look somewhat similar from client to client.
Yeah, I think right now I'm complicating it, and I want to provide so much value to the clients that I'm over delivering, and then I'm utilizing resources in the wrong for a client that isn't paying more for those resources.
Yep.
But we have the efficiency to do that. So naturally I'm just like, hey, we're going to work on this. So I think I need to just tone it back with the team and say, hey, we're providing the bare minimum. We've already over delivered in this area, not the bare minimum, but our commitment. We're providing our commitment. And then if we're over delivering 2-3 assets, great, but we're not going to over deliver and get a month ahead for this client. Like, we're proactively like a month ahead on a specific client, and the team's overwhelmed when I should just be putting it into a new client versus trying to get ahead for a specific client.
Exactly. So
cool. I will adjust that and report next week.
Awesome, brother. Sounds good, man. Good to see you.
You too, man. Thank you.
Peace. All right, crew, we're wrapping up today. I appreciate you guys coming to Agency Therapy this week. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. You know what to do. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.